Hello, everyone. I am Jerome Martin from Light Body Bootcamp, and today we are going to be doing the Merkaba class, also known as the Spirit Light Body. Give me one moment to pull up the slideshow. Let's see what we're going to be doing here. Share my screen. All right, so we have the Merkaba class. So, first thing we're talking about is the history of the Merkaba. The Merkaba is an ancient symbol and spiritual technology. It's been seen as a symbol, and we talk about spiritual technology. It is an extension of yourself. I've talked about this a lot in other videos, whereas this is an extension of yourself. We see our 3D body as this meat suit, but the Merkaba is an extension of us that is energetic, that embodies the higher dimensional frequencies. And so the word Merkaba is light spirit body, right? Merkaba, light spirit body or spirit light body. So this forms a unified vehicle around you. And in most esoteric interpretation, the Merkaba is understood to be a multidimensional energy field, a divine light body structure that facilitates spiritual ascension, interdimensional travel, and soul deep embodiment. This is really important because when it comes to multidimensionality and really this whole light body development, your Merkaba is everything. It's a vehicle, it is the body itself, it's how you operate in the higher dimensions. Everything flows through it. So just like with your physical body, what can you do without your physical body? Whether it's reading, whether it's eating, whether it's thinking, no matter what you're doing, building a house, you're using your physical body. Your light body is the same way. In the higher dimensional realms, everything is your light body, whether it's the ability to move your consciousness between one realm or the other, to be able to remote view, to be able to heal, to be able to perceive information with your intuitive senses. Everything requires the Merkaba, the light body. Okay. So this concept appears in various traditions. In Kabbalic Judaism, the Merkava is the chariot. It's described in the book of Ezekiel as the divine vehicle that carries the soul through the heavenly realms. It's surrounded by wheels of fire and angelic beings. This vision became central to the Merkaba mysticism, and this is an early Jewish ascension practice. In ancient Egyptian spirituality, the energetic body and chariot of ascension were referred to in fragmented hieroglyphic wisdom linked to the solar vehicle of Ra, the light ship that carried the soul through the underworld and the stars. In sacred geometry, the Merkaba is depicted as two interlocking tetrahedrons spinning in opposite directions, forming a star tetrahedron. This geometry represents the balance of masculine and feminine, heaven and earth, and is said to create a field of protection and spiritual activation around the human body. Throughout time, the Merkaba has reemerged in various esoteric teachings, mystery schools, and light body traditions, often hidden in symbolism, but preserved in teachings of ancient initiates. In modern metaphysical practice, activating the Merkaba is seen as a powerful step in awakening one's multidimensional self, restoring the original human blueprint, and consciously navigating realms beyond the third dimension. The history of the Merkaba is not just one of ancient texts or sacred symbols. It's the story of humanity's remembrance of its divine architecture and its eternal connection to the cosmos. Once again, this is so, so important. And this is why we start with this in the Light Body Bootcamp, because when it comes to this whole psychic phenomena and everything that you're going to be doing, whether you're working with your guides, whether you're healing, whether you're clearing, no matter what you're doing, everything involves the Merkaba. Okay, so the Merkaba and the 5D light body. The Merkaba is more than just a geometric symbol. I know we see it as a star tetrahedron, but this is a living vehicle of ascension that activates as we awaken our fifth dimensional light body. Once again, this is the fifth dimensional light body. It is an extension. And I've explained this before. I'm going to explain it again that the dimensions all interlock, right? They're all stacked on top of each other. A dimension isn't a far off place. They all sit inside of each other. You can think of like a Russian stacking doll where all the dolls are inside of the other dolls. All the dimensions are stacked on top of each other. When you look at the auric field and the layers, each layer of your auric field is another dimension of consciousness. And so the fifth dimensional light body is just an extension that overlays the rest of you. So, in the fifth dimension, consciousness is no longer bound by linear time, density, or egoic limitation. Instead, it functions from unity, unconditional love, and multidimensional awareness. The Merkaba serves as a bridge, the interface, and the technology that makes higher embodiment possible. In its geometric form, the Merkaba is a star tetrahedron, two interlocking pyramids spinning in opposite directions, creating a dynamic energy field around the body. When fully activated, this spinning field becomes a living chariot of light, allowing the soul to access higher dimensions of consciousness, merge with the higher self and oversoul, transcend space and time, and bilocate or astral project, and encode the divine blueprint of health, wholeness, and spiritual sovereignty. This whole bilocation, right? So when we are moving our consciousness, we never leave the physical body. Just a fractal of our consciousness is able to move into another location. So bilocation is taking our consciousness and moving it from single vector, which is how we see out of our eyes, into multi-vector, where when you have your eyes closed, it's like you can see in another plane of reality, right? You're able to move a piece of your consciousness into the ethers, and this is what bilocation is. All right, next we have the 5D light body is the next evolutionary template of human embodiment. It is the crystalline photonic field that operates in full harmony with source frequency. As we ascend into 5D consciousness, the Merkaba becomes a vehicle of integration, stabilizing higher dimensional energies into our physical and energetic systems. It's through the Merkaba that we begin to embody the traits of 5D living, which is telepathic communication, instant manifestation through frequency alignment, radical presence and divine neutrality, and we are in complete unity with Gaia's crystalline grid and the galactic core, right? So we always connect to Gaia and always connect to the galactic core or the galactic center or source, however you want to call that. But this is how we stay in alignment with it. The Merkaba activation is not just symbolic, it's cellular, energetic, and it is definitely spiritual. When aligned with heart coherence, breath, and intention, the Merkaba field restores the original architecture of the light body, reawakening latent strands of DNA, activating dormant codes, and restructuring the energy field to carry more divine intelligence. So, this is really important because when the Merkaba field activates and the DNA starts coming online, the DNA is a storehouse, right? It is a library of information, not only of your memories, but all of the memories from other incarnations. This is where your spiritual abilities are held. They say that the DNA is, they say it's junk, but really it's just off and it's not being awakened or being utilized. And once it comes online, this is where all of your spiritual abilities start coming online and we start remembering who we were and how to access these other realms of consciousness. And as more beings awaken to the truth of their multidimensional identity, the Merkaba becomes a crucial key in transitioning from carbon-based limitation to crystalline light body embodiment, fully entering the fifth dimensional reality while still being anchored in Earth's evolutionary shift. This is really important and why humans are actually really special and why a lot of the extraterrestrials are all observing and watching humanity. Humanity is the only species right now that we know of, at least, that is able to operate in duality, but also unity at the same time. We are dualistic in nature, but we have the ability to step into that unity consciousness with the Merkaba and enter into the fifth dimension from the third dimension. And so we're able to operate in both spectrums simultaneously. Activating the Merkaba is one of the most profound steps in multidimensional awakening. When your Merkaba is activated, you're turning on the divine light vehicle encoded in your energy body, a geometric structure. We already mentioned the star tetrahedron that connects your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual fields across dimensions. This is how we enter unity, as we're unifying all parts of ourselves. This is what happens when you activate the Merkaba. Firstly, you awaken your multidimensional light body. Your Merkaba is the interface between your soul and the cosmos. Once active, it forms a coherent, spinning field of light that allows you to move consciously across space, time, and dimensional layers. It's like turning on the navigation system of your higher self. Secondly, is you gain access to interdimensional travel. An activated Merkaba enables safe travel through inner stargates, timelines, realms, and cosmic memory fields. You can begin receiving clear downloads, soul memories, and come in contact with higher dimensional guides or aspects of yourself. And this is where the real development begins to happen. And three, your energy field becomes sovereign and self-contained. The Merkaba creates a protective geometric field that filters out intrusive energies, entities, and interferences. It balances masculine and feminine currents and stabilizes your toroidal field and reduces energetic leakages. Four, you unlock soul memory and dormant abilities. I was talking about this earlier about that once your DNA activates and the soul memory comes back, you start remembering different abilities. This can come in the form of guides coming to teach you these abilities, or you just start remembering them and they become just innate. You just, oh yeah, I know how to do that. That's what happened for me is I got glimpses and all of a sudden I just knew how to do certain things that I had no prior memory of. Other times I had guides come in and show me, hey, this is how you do this. And we'll teach you and we'll practice. And it happens that way as well. Merkaba activation reconnects you with ancient wisdom, sacred knowledge, and advanced psychic or telepathic abilities. Many begin to channel light language, recall past parallel lives, or access Akashic records through the Merkaba lens. All of this has happened with me. I started becoming very telepathic, where I'm communicating back and forth with these beings. I channel light language for different transmissions. It starts coming through the DNA channels and the Akashic records. You start accessing, being able to read, being able to clear all these awesome things that happen once you gain access to the Merkaba. And five, you accelerate DNA activation and embodiment. As your Merkaba spins and stabilizes, it stimulates dormant DNA strands, activates higher chakras, and initiates embodiment of the oversoul. Your physical and energetic system begin harmonizing with your divine blueprint. This is where you start remembering past lives. You start all sorts of awesome stuff starts coming in. I started getting access to different ET guides. This is such a prolific advancement in my spiritual path, and I cannot encourage this more. And then six, you experience spiritual clarity, peace, and purpose. Once active, the Merkaba aligns your mind and body with your soul's mission. It becomes easier to trust your intuition, follow divine guidance, and make choices in alignment with higher truth. So, how many Merkabas do we have? This is a great question. You don't just have one, you have multiple Merkaba fields operating on different dimensional levels of the light body. And so here is the breakdown. First, you have the personal, which is the human Merkaba. This is the primary star tetrahedron field around the physical body. This is activated through heart coherence, breath, and intention. It spins at specific angular velocities and directions depending on polarity and dimension. It connects the body, soul, and spirit, merging the 3D self with higher aspects. Then we have the oversoul Merkaba. This surrounds your soul extensions and your incarnate selves. It connects your soul family and operates at the D6 and D8 levels. It facilitates integration of parallel and past life fragments. Then we have the monad or avatar Merkaba located in the D9 and 12 frequency spectrum. This governs the architecture of your divine blueprint and your multidimensional identity. This Merkaba anchors the Christos Sophia fields, restoring unity consciousness through the light body. Activation of this field often corresponds to DNA strands at 9 through 12 activation and access to universal memory. And then you have the planetary and galactic Merkaba. As you evolve, your Merkaba syncs with Gaia's planetary Merkaba. the solar Merkaba, and even the galactic core. This interlocks you into a larger Stargate network and enables starseed missions like grid work, planetary healing, or timeline anchoring. And then we have the universal Merkaba systems. This is beyond individual consciousness. These fields connect group souls, star collectives, and cosmic intelligences. Advanced beings like the Elohim, the Seraphim, and Christed ETs operate within multi-Merkaba networks spanning entire star systems and harmonic universes. So these are the main ones, right? And they also operate as shields because you have a shield or a density, right? There's 15 dimensions, but there is three dimensions inside each density, five densities spanning 15 dimensions. And so I've experienced individual ones, Merkaba at each dimension, a bandwidth of consciousness, but they make up shields, which is a larger three dimensions, and they nest inside of each other like Russian stacking dolls. Here is a little breakdown of them again, the ones we just went through, but it's easier to look at through this chart. Next, we're going to go over Merkaba rotation speed. All over the internet, there's different rotation speeds. There is what was taught by Toth, which is the original, and we're not using that. We are using the rotation of the crystal spiral. The fully activated Merkaba spins at 33 and a third times the speed of light on one axis and 11 tenths the speed of light on the counter axis. So let's talk about what this means in Keylontic science. 33 and a third, the speed of light is faster than light rotation. This relates to the inner sphere or electromagnetic rotation of the light body. This is the counterclockwise spiral associated with the divine feminine current and is responsible for drawing the spiritual frequency from higher dimensions. 11 tenths the speed of light is the clockwise spiral or the electrical rotation associated with the divine masculine current, which projects consciousness outward and stabilizes the energy body within the dimensional structures. The reason why this is important, these specific ratios are not arbitrary. They are harmonic keys that match the universal mathematic structure of time vectors, DNA strand harmonics, and interdimensional field alignment. When these rotations are activated and synchronized properly, the Merkaba becomes a light sound vehicle of ascension. This spinning allows you to phase shift consciousness into other dimensions, activate dormant DNA strands, anchor the Cathara grid and the 12 tree template, and bypass time space density locks. And also, you're able to achieve bioregenesis and return to the eternal life Christos template. And this is how we can fix our DNA template from mutation. So the other Merkaba ratios, we're just going to touch on them for a moment, that are taught out there are 3421, 9 tenths the speed of light. This specific set, the 3421, 9 tenths, refers to the intermediate Merkaba spin set that correlates to the distorted or artificial Merkaba fields, also linked to the Metatronic reversal currents or the death science templates. This is what I first started with because I didn't know any better. This is where things started for me, and then over time I progressed and learned that the ratios were off, and I corrected them. The 3421's spin is mentioned, in contrast to the natural 33 and a third, 11 tenths the speed of light. The 3421 is not in harmonic resonance with the eternal life Christic template. It produces what Ashiana Dean in the Voyager series calls the finite life Merkaba, one that implodes instead of sustaining perpetual life flow. So what's wrong with a 3421 ratio? Well, it distorts the natural toroidal flow of prana through the body's Cathara grid. It breaks the natural scalar wave alignment, causing frequency mutation and eventual Merkaba collapse. It's often linked to Metatronic technologies like the Vesica Pisces and the Flower of Life, or the Death Flower, as they call it, which mimic eternal structures but drain energy and consciousness over time. They call it Death Star mechanics because really it's siphoning your energy into false timelines, into the phantom matrix. So here's another little chart of the rotations, just so you can see them again. So The reason why this is important is using distorted Merkaba fields can interfere with DNA activation, specifically strands 7 through 12. They prevent full access to density 2 and 3 gates, and they plug your consciousness into false ascension matrices. And this is why, with the wrong rotations, your DNA strands won't fully activate. You'll only get up to, I've seen strands 9 or 10 at most. And this is why the distorted rotations, and you can look at the mathematics, there's other videos of this online, but what it does is it bends the mathematics and you no longer have 12 spheres or 12 gates. You only have access to 10. And this is what is taught in the Kabbalah and the tree of life systems that only have 10 spheres. It's the wrong mathematics. And if we were inside the light body boot camp, we would now go through the activation of the Merkaba. If you want to experience this, you can click the link in the description, and there is a 7-day free trial where you can activate your Merkaba and go through all the foundational material and begin the training in the Light Body Bootcamp. If this resonates with you, I will see you inside.